Well, it is 9:01 in the morning, and nobody is here. So I'll wait a few minutes, see if anybody shows up. We will go from there. Hey, Linda's here. That's good. Who's on your profile pic? I've always been wondering that.
I have no idea. I left myself logged in on a computer when I was a freshman, and somebody changed it.
Okay. I'll wait a couple minutes, see if anybody else shows up. Hey, Nathan's here.
Hello.
I was wondering what you've been up to. I haven't gotten any work from you yet.
Oh, snap. We got work? I didn't even know.
Yeah. How many we got? We got 5 assignments that I'm waiting on.
Oh, man. When is it due?
4 of them are past due.
Oh.
But I'll take them. You just go on to Canvas. They're all there. The old ones, you'd have to click on the calendar and click on all of the dates going back to March 16th, and they'll pull up that way.
Okay.
Yep. It could be worse. You could be in my first or second block where they're meeting every day, and like I got some kids that owe me like 10 assignments.
True. Okay.
Yeah. What's sad is some people have come to the online classes and haven't done any work. I'm like, well, you can't use that as like I don't have an internet thing if you're on a video chat.
Yeah.
So, well, it's 9:05, and I got two peeps here who have given a rip enough to come to the morning session. So, I'm gonna ask you guys. I'm looking at the notes from this week, what we would have went over in class. Have either of you looked at those notes?
I looked at like the first two.
So, tell me what two of you actually looked at, so I know we're on the same page.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. I don't even remember. I looked at 24th and the 26th.
Right. So, like, read. Do you have them with you?
I mean, I didn't write it down, but yeah.
I didn't ask if you wrote it down. I'm just asking, like,
yeah, I got it.
Okay. So, what's the headline? Just so I make sure that we're on the same page. That's what I'm asking you.
Oh, effects of the war on soldiers.
Right. That's one.
And the other one?
Yeah.
Let's see. Turning points of the war.
Yep. That's it.
Okay.
So, I wanted to see if you or Linda had read those. If there was anything that stood out to you, like made an impression on you, or didn't make any sense or was confusing in any way. That's kind of what the classes are supposed to be about.
Now I got it.
So I'm looking, trying to see if, yeah, more died on the disease on the battlefield. Andersonville, that POW warm up, kind of shows you how messed up Andersonville was, because that's what that cartoon is based on. Turning points of the war, Vicksburg, that warm up, I think is going to be helpful to you when you get around to that. Trying to think. Let me try to pull up something since you guys are here.
Okay.
And I'll present it to you all real quick. So. Just saw it. There it is. All right. It's not a little bit blurry, but I can make it work. So check this out real quick. All right. You guys see this map?
Yes.
Okay. So like the dark green is the Confederacy. And like if you look in the middle, like where Louisiana, Mississippi are at, you see that like light green tongue kind of coming down in the middle.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, so that's the Mississippi River. And so when Vicksburg is taken, that means that the entire river is controlled by the Union, by the North, which means everything to the west side, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, all of that is cut off from the east side. And the east side's where your population centers are at. Virginia, the Carolinas, Georgia, that's where most of the people live in the Confederacy. But they're growing cotton there. They don't have enough food to survive. They need food from the western part, like Texas. You still have a lot of cattle in Texas, so you need cattle for beef, dairy. You have a lot of grains grown out in Texas. And so that's going to be lost to the soldiers in the east who need that food to fight. And so that's kind of why Vicksburg is a big deal. The other thing you've got is in the east, you've got these generals who are, crap one after the other getting fired by Lincoln. You got this guy called Burnside. I'm going to show you Burnside because if I show him to you, I promise you'll never forget this guy. Let's see. There we go. So I'm going to present that dude. Oh, I'm already presenting, I guess. All right. So do you guys see him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys see that like really weird facial hair he's got going on?
Yeah. I dig.
I mean, you guys see this dude's facial hair, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where you ever heard of like someone like having big sideburns on their face?
Maybe.
Like
I,
Elvis, he had like the hair going down to here,
oh.
like that. You know what I'm talking about though?
Yeah, I
Like the
know.
mutton chops,
Mm-hmm.
they're named after him. That's where they got the name from. So Burnside was crazy, and I'm going to show you why he was crazy, why he got fired. I'll show you this. Getting better at this, I'm kind of learning as I go. I haven't done anything like a month ago. I wouldn't have been able to do any of this. Oh, that's what I want. So yeah, that's it. That's perfect right there. Do you guys see this stone wall in the middle?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You guys see how it's kind of like on a hill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So there were like 3 of those going all the way up the hill. And Burnside decided to charge up the hill where the Confederates were at, and all the Confederate guys had to do was duck. And so the bullets would fly right over them or into the stone wall and wouldn't hurt them. And as Burnside's guys were reloading, the Confederates, all they had to do was pop up and shoot, and it was a bloodbath. And Burnside tried to charge up the hill multiple times, and it didn't work. This is why Burnside got fired, and then he got replaced with Joe Hooker, and Lee made Hooker look stupid. So Hooker got fired. But you see where Stonewall Jackson died at that battle at Chancellorsville, and that's going to screw up Lee for the rest of the war because that was like Lee's right hand man, and he can't replace him. But Lee goes on offense again. He invades the North a second time and gets all the way into Pennsylvania. So Lincoln fired Hooker, and now this guy called Meade has to find Lee. He's in Pennsylvania somewhere, but nobody knows where. And so it's like this big hunt, like Lee is hunting for Meade, because if Lee can beat Meade in Pennsylvania, it'd be like Antietam. He can pull a rabbit out of his hat and win the war. Meade has to stop him because you can't just let Lee run all over the North. Let me show you Meade real quick, and then I'll ask y'all if you got anything else. Some people call Meade a turtle because he kind of looks like a turtle. So let me pull him up. Yeah, there he goes. I don't know if I'll let you guys decide what he looks like. There's Meade. It looks kind of like a deer. Got like those big dark eyes.
Yeah, I see a deer. I don't see a turtle.
Yeah. So that's Meade. And the notes for next week pick up with this invasion of Pennsylvania, and it leads to Gettysburg. So not. I guess it's a spoiler alert. I don't know, but that's pretty much what we were supposed to go over this week. Says the turning points of the war. You guys remember what a turning point does in a war?
Like, doesn't it kind of like flip the table? Like the side that was like kind of doing bad, they like like I don't know how to explain it. Like they start doing better.
Yeah, that's it. You got it. So for a lot of the war, the Confederates have been winning, and now because of the turning points at Vicksburg and then at Gettysburg, which we're going to get to the next time we go over notes, those two things are going to switch the war around where the Confederates are going to be losing for the rest of the war. Do you guys have questions about anything as far as what we're doing?
No.
Okay. Trying to think. Were either of you guys planning on coming by to pick up new paper stuff, or were you guys just going to do it electronically, or what were your plans on that?
I was coming to pick up packets. Did we have one for your class?
Yeah, they're at the front of the school. A lot of the teachers, including myself, have them in blue, so you can tell them apart from the earlier ones. My blue packets will get you through April 9th. So they got the rest of the notes for Unit 6. The Unit 7 packet is inside, and then the first couple of days worth of notes on Unit 7 are in there.
Okay.
Nathan, is that what you plan to do also?
I was gonna do it at home, just on my phone.
Okay, so I'll email you and some other people those notes. The main thing you got to do, Nathan, is to catch up on the work so it doesn't overwhelm you. And next week, I'm trying to pull up the date here. Just give me a second. March, April, April 9th. Wait, I'm thinking. The 30 questions are going to be due. They're not 30 questions. The 45 questions are going to be due for Unit 6 right before spring break. And so I might kind of do it as a quiz grade or something, just so you can have that category in the grade book. So just kind of making you aware of that. All right. Sound good, Linda?
Yes, sir.
All right. And Liliana has decided to join us.
Sorry, I was having trouble getting on.
No, you're good. We kind of wrapped up most everything, unless you had questions about anything.
Not really.
Okay. What I would suggest you do, since we kind of went over everything, is to just come back at 1. Does that sound all right?
I have to come back at 1. I don't know.
Well, if you don't want to, I can kind of go over what I went over with them. That'd be fine. And if Linda and Nathan want to head out, they can do that too. It's up to them.
See you.
Bye, Nathan.
All right, peace.
Because I have to take my cousins to the store later. So.
Yeah, that's fine. So basically, did you look over the notes for this week?
No, I have not. I did the warm-ups and the homework. That's it.
Okay, give me a second. Let me check something out. Yeah, you're all set. You're actually set through until we get the warm-ups on the 30th. So, I'm trying to think. Did you get the printed out notes or the emailed notes?
Well, you gave me the last time that we had the little pickup thing.
Yeah. So you got the printed out notes.
Yeah, you gave me the little packet of notes.
Okay, perfect. So if you want to kind of follow along, I can kind of do like a down and dirty version. I'm looking at effects of the war on soldiers and turning points of the war. That's kind of what I went over with the others.
Okay.
And just let me know when you're ready.
You can go.
Okay. So you did the POW warm up. So that was pretty much like a visual description of Andersonville. That was like the toughest POW camp. Prisoners were treated really bad. A lot of the reason why they were held was because the South didn't want to give up prisoners since we had African Americans fighting. That really made the South mad. And so that was their way of getting back at us, was by holding prisoners and treating them badly. The medical care was really bad. More people died of disease than wounds on the battlefield. I'm trying to think. You guys saw the movies from Dances with Wolves, Glory. You know those Civil War field hospitals. You remember kind of how those things look like?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you can see how nasty they were and how many people died. The Northern soldiers. Let me show you this real quick. Is what they had to eat, which was not very fun. I gotta find a good version of this real quick. There we go. That's the one I like to show. All right, let me present this to you. All right, do you see the cracker looking thing on the right hand side?
Yeah.
That's hardtack, and that's like the basic snack or meal that a lot of Union soldiers would get. You see how hard it is. They can like stamp messages inside it. If you tried to eat this out of the pack, you would break your teeth on it. You would literally break your teeth on it. So you would have to dunk it in water or like pour water on it to soften it up enough to eat it. I mean, it must have tasted awful. I mean, I just can't imagine. So that sucked, but the South didn't even have that. And so the South had to forage for food, which is basically, you're a Southern Army, you're marching to a battle 50 miles away, and you pass through somebody's farm. And so you grab the corn off the stalks, you grab the apples off the trees, you take a bunch of pigs and cows and chickens with you to butcher that night and eat in your camp. That's what foraging is. And so the South had to do that to survive, because their farm situation was awful. Because remember, most of the Southerners weren't farming food. What were they farming?
Is there anyone else right here?
Well, it's not in those days' notes. I'm trying to get you to think a little bit and remember what was the South's biggest moneymaker.
Tobacco?
Not tobacco.
The South?
Yep. Tobacco is probably the number 2 crop in the South.
No. Cotton?
Yep. Because remember, they were going to sell that for weapons to fight the North. So, you can't eat cotton, you can't eat tobacco. So their problem was getting food. And that leads you into the next days of notes, turning points of the war. Most of the food that the South got was sent in from Texas. A lot of livestock in Texas, a lot of grains are grown in Texas, and that has to come east across the Mississippi River, and that leads to Vicksburg. This was the only place that the South still controlled along the Mississippi River. And so that was what your warm-up assignment, Vicksburg, was about that you did yesterday or the day before. I think it was yesterday. But anyway, that's why Vicksburg was such a big deal. And once the Confederacy's cut in half, those armies and population centers in the eastern half of the Confederacy won't be able to have a reliable source of food anymore. Makes their situation a lot more desperate. In the East, Lee is tearing people up, and Lincoln is firing general after general. The first one he has to get rid of is this dude called Burnside, which I'm going to pull up and show to you real quick. So just bear with me. History, general, there we go, Burnside. And it's loading, and I'm presenting. There we go. Right. So, you see Burnside?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. You see the crazy hair he's got on his face?
Yeah.
You ever heard of sideburns on a guy?
Yeah.
That's where that name comes from, because he has like the most crazy sideburns anybody's ever seen. So they named that facial style after him. So Burnside is a tough guy. He's not like McClellan, who's going to be scared of a fight and run away from one, which is why Lincoln put him in charge. But the problem is Burnside is not the brightest bulb in the pack. Do you see that stone wall on the screen?
Yeah.
You see how it kind of goes up on a hill?
Mm-hmm.
There were 3 lines of those stone walls, and Burnside decided to charge his troops up the hill across the stone walls, and the Confederates, all they had to do was duck. And so Burnside pretty much wiped his army out trying to charge up and over these stone walls. So that was the end of Burnside as a commanding officer. And then he picks Fighting Joe Hooker to take his place. And he's similar to Burnside, and Lee beats him at Chancellorsville, but Stonewall Jackson dies. And that's going to be impossible for Lee to replace, but Lee tries to, push the loss aside, and he invades the North. He invades all the way to Pennsylvania. Lincoln fires Hooker, and he hires this other guy instead. And here he is. This is General Meade. People nicknamed him the snapping turtle because I guess they thought he looked like a turtle, but everybody else I talked to this morning said he looked like a deer instead. I guess because he would snap at people when they were badmouth them. I don't know. But that's General Meade. Meade has one job, and his one job is to find Robert E. Lee and stop him in Pennsylvania. But Meade doesn't know where he is. So Meade has like his army all broken up, wandering around Pennsylvania trying to find Lee. Lee is trying to find Meade also, because Lee knows if he can beat Meade, then he's going to be like this big hero, and maybe he can still win the war and pull a rabbit out of his hat. And so they're both looking for each other in Pennsylvania. Nobody knows where the other one is. That's late June 1863, and that sets the stage for the other big battle. Vicksburg is in the notes, but Tuesday's notes are going to be mostly about Gettysburg, where Meade and Lee are going to have their big throwdown. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Are you gonna give out like more notes today, or?
Yeah, they have the pickup drop off thing going on at the school today. So if you want to, you can pick up the next packet. It's on blue paper. Most of the teachers have them printed on blue paper, so you can tell them apart from the first packet. My packet has the rest of the Unit 6 notes on it. It has the Unit 7 reading packet inside of it, and I think it's got a couple of days worth of Unit 7 notes. That'll take you through April 9th.
Okay. And I heard you talk about the 45 questions. How, like, Do we have to type them or do we have to write them?
If you have already started to write them, you can finish them that way and then take pictures of the pages and send them as an attachment. If you haven't started to write them, I would type up the 45 questions as a Google Doc and turn that in before spring break. And I'm probably going to enter that as a quiz grade just so you have something in there for that.
When spring break?
Spring break was supposed to start April 10th. So some of my kids are taking a 2-month spring break by the looks of things. Not doing any work and thinking that's going to work out well.
Okay. And also, I had a question about a grade that I'll 0 on. It's the, let me find it.
It must be quarter 3. It's quarter 4, you're all set. You got a 97 for quarter 4. Yeah, the New York draft riots.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's-
that was a quarter 3 assignment.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to think. Give me a second. Let me pull up my attendance. So quarter 3.
I think it was,
Yeah, you were on that field trip on the 11th. So, if you had made up the assignment before I had turned in the grades, I could have taken it. But I mean, you still had an A for the quarter.
okay.
So,
No. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So type up the 45 questions, and then they're due by the 10th of April.
yeah, just, if you can do it that first week of April, you'd be all set.
Okay. Is there anything else?
Just, keep doing what you've been doing, keeping up with the assignments. You're doing a good job on that. And just, skim over the notes for next week. So when we meet on Friday, you'll be ready to go.
Are we gonna like have any like quizzes or?
Probably not, because the thing is, if I give a quiz or a test at home, what's to stop somebody from, doing on the laptop and then opening another tab and going back and forth, or, having, their laptop open and their phone in the other hand and looking up stuff. So I'm just worried about security issues with that. So I'm probably not going to.
All right. Well.
Now, if somebody shows me a way where I can lock things down, I might. But if I don't, then I won't.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yep, no problem, Willie.
Bye.
All right, see you next time.